It's a new day on Tesla Shorts Time, episode 553. It's July 26th, 2026, and I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Here's what you need to know about Tesla today. Tesla's Wafer-Scale AI design can now isolate an overheating die and keep the rest of the training fabric running without engineer intervention. Each die carries embedded sensors that report temperature, voltage, current, power, workload, bandwidth, and latency along with its wafer address. Microcontrollers at the edge filter the stream and escalate only relevant readings to a central controller. When thresholds are crossed, the controller can throttle power, deactivate the die, or repartition compute fabric so healthier sections absorb the load. Stored telemetry creates a live health map and digital flight recorder for the entire data center. Signals from power and cooling infrastructure feed the same loop, widening oversight from single dies to full racks. The approach turns a local silicon fault into a contained event rather than a system-wide throttle or shutdown. A wafer-scale processor packs thousands of dies so tightly that one local fault can throttle or halt the entire array. Tesla's approach embeds sensors and a control fabric that lets the system detect heat or voltage problems, isolate the affected die, and reallocate work to the remaining silicon without waiting for human intervention. The result is a compute cluster that behaves more like a resilient organism than a brittle machine whose weakest square dictates overall performance. Every die reports its own vital signs through dedicated telemetry paths, and microcontrollers at the edge decide what data deserves escalation. When a threshold is crossed, the central controller can choke power, quarantine the die, or hand its workload to neighboring healthy sections. That resilience matters because training runs for FSD and Optimus stretch across weeks or months. By handling faults at the die level, the design reduces the frequency of full system restarts and keeps utilization higher across the Cortex and Dojo clusters. Higher sustained utilization means fewer racks are needed to deliver the same training throughput, which directly lowers the cost per inference hour and per robot training cycle. From keeping training clusters running reliably, we turn to how that training is already showing up on public roads. Tesla reported more than 380,000 miles of unsupervised ride-hailing across several states with no notable incidents. AI Vice President Ashok Ellaswamy shared the figure during the Q2 earnings call. The data covers real-world operation without safety drivers. The mileage total spans multiple regulatory jurisdictions where unsupervised service is already active. No safety-critical interventions were required across the accumulated distance. The new service is now active in Orlando and Tampa, alongside Texas and California. While the fleet miles grow, individual driver reports give a ground-level view of the same software. One driver reported a smooth 31-mile run with minimal interventions on both public roads and highways. The system handled standard highway segments and city streets without notable issues during the session. The first phantom brake occurred when passing shadows of utility poles, a scenario the driver noted happens frequently in the current build. The incident was logged during an evening demo drive of the V14 Lite release. A passenger identified the shadow pattern as a recurring trigger. This continues the pattern of incremental supervised FSD improvements seen in recent software versions, from software on the road to the hardware that will eventually carry it at scale. 8 Cybercab units were observed at the San Antonio Tesla Center, some equipped with steering wheels and others without. The sighting shows continued physical presence of the vehicle ahead of wider deployment. Owners and visitors documented the vehicles on site. The mix of steered and steer-by-wire examples indicates parallel hardware configurations still in circulation. The location places the units at a major Texas service and delivery hub. While the robotaxi hardware takes shape, Optimus production expectations are being set. Elon Musk stated that Optimus production will begin with a long and flat ramp before volume increases. The update aligns with ongoing factory construction at Giga Texas. Early output remains targeted for internal use before external sales. The warning sets expectations that initial weekly rates will stay low for an extended period. Supply chain readiness is cited as the primary pacing factor ahead of any acceleration. From humanoid production timelines to supporting hardware updates on current vehicles. Unreleased camera washer components for the refreshed Model Y appeared in official service parts databases. The addition indicates preparation for hardware support on upcoming vehicles. Service centers can now order the parts ahead of customer deliveries. The components address a known limitation in camera cleanliness during adverse weather. Catalog presence typically precedes broader availability by several weeks. From vehicle hardware tweaks to energy storage performance limits. A homeowner reported that extreme heat prevented the Powerwall 3 from reaching a complete charge during peak conditions. The unit continued operating but delivered reduced capacity under the high-temperature load. The 104-degree environment directly limited the battery's ability to accept full input. This highlights a practical limit for residential storage performance in hot climates. Thermal constraints appear to cap daily energy throughput even when the system remains online. Sustained high ambient temperatures appear to constrain daily energy acceptance even when solar input remains available. From residential storage limits to service challenges on leased solar systems. Owners with leased solar installations report repeated service delays when panels cease output. Each missed repair appointment extends downtime by an additional 2 weeks. The pattern affects system reliability and customer experience for leased solar assets. Multiple no-shows compound the lost generation period beyond the initial failure. Leased customers face longer resolution timelines than direct owners in similar situations. From Tesla's own energy products to competitive pressure in electric trucking, Windrose announced deployment of 10 electric semis along the I-35 freight route in Texas. The trucks will operate in a corridor already served by Tesla's own semi program. The move adds competitive pressure on long-haul electric truck economics in the state. 10 units represent an early commercial foothold for the rival platform. Texas freight volume on I-35 provides a direct test bed for real-world duty cycles. From competing trucks on the road to other vehicles using Tesla's charging network, Ford is testing its upcoming electric pickups on the Tesla Supercharger network. The sessions evaluate compatibility and charging performance ahead of wider NACS adoption. Results will inform how non-Tesla trucks integrate into the open access network. Multiple vehicle configurations are being run through standard stall sequences. Data collected will shape firmware and connector expectations for future Ford models. From charging access to a quick look at other market and regulatory notes. Tesla disclosed its Bitcoin activity for the quarter without major sales or purchases. The filing shows the company maintained its existing holdings through the period. This continues Tesla's long-standing but low-activity approach to the asset. Investors watch these updates for any shift in treasury strategy. No material gains or losses were realized from crypto movements in the reported quarter. The position remains unchanged from prior disclosures. The investment firm Entropy Technologies LP added a modest position in TSLA during the recent period. The purchase appears in regulatory filings and reflects continued institutional interest despite price volatility. Such moves provide a snapshot of smaller fund activity around the stock. The 13,444 share stake represents a new entry rather than an increase to an existing holding. Filings place the transaction in the most recent reporting window. A non-Tesla, non-BYD manufacturer launched the first production electric car using sodium-ion cells. The vehicle targets lower-cost segments where energy density demands are modest. Its arrival marks the first real-world test of sodium chemistry in passenger cars outside major Chinese players. The chemistry trades range for lower material costs and improved cold weather tolerance. Production timing places the model ahead of any announced Tesla sodium program. Tesla's Model Y topped the EV sales chart as battery electric vehicles reached 37.7% of the German market. The result shows continued strength for the current Model Y in a key European market, even as refreshed versions approach. Market share data provides a concrete read on demand ahead of potential Juniper changes. The Model Y outpaced other battery electric nameplates in the monthly registration figures. Overall, EV penetration at 37.7% marks a new high for the German passenger car segment. Uber filed comments seeking limits on owner-operated Tesla and Waymo robotaxis in upcoming regulations. The move aims to protect the company's existing ride-hailing model as unsupervised fleets expand. Regulatory outcomes in these states will shape how quickly third-party Tesla vehicles can enter commercial service. Uber's position focuses on insurance, licensing, and operational oversight requirements. The comments arrive as multiple jurisdictions finalize rules for driverless ride-hailing. Keep an eye on regulatory updates in Florida and Texas as the unsupervised robotaxi footprint expands there. And that's everything worth knowing about Tesla today. TSL closed at $313.03, down $10.97, 3.4%. If the show saves you time, a quick rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify goes a long way. You can also find us on X at Tesla Shorts Time. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. I'll see you tomorrow. This show comes to you from the NARA Network. If you want another sharp daily briefing, Unintended Consequences has you covered. True stories of good intentions that backfired. All our shows are free at naranetwork.com. And on the website, every episode's visuals live in our free image gallery at naranetwork.com/gallery. Royalty-free under Creative Commons, download with attribution. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.